And I'm starting by cooking in a pot here 2 cups of almonds and 1/4 cup of sugar. And what I'm doing is I'm caramelizing these almonds. And this is going to take, about 5 or 6 minutes to do. And then, when they're caramelized, I take my pot out onto a oiled marble board, or if you don't have a marble board, you could do this on a wooden board, but just make sure that you put some oil or butter down and spread these almonds out. Now, when you do this, I want you to make sure that you're very careful with this because this could splatter and burn you. So take great care when you're making this part of the semifreddo. And this is known as croccante, and it's eaten at all the fairs in Italy, and it's great in this dessert. So here it is, spread out on the board. And now we need to let that cool down because we're going to have to chop this later on. So I'm going to set it over here and just allow it to cool. And now we have to get the mold ready. And actually, this recipe is going to make enough for 2 molds. So here's one of mine, and you want to make sure that you're using a deep mold. I think this one's about 5.5 by 7 by 3. And then have some plastic wrap ready. And you want to fit it into the mold, allowing enough overhang so that when we mold this, you'll be able to fold the plastic wrap over because this is going to go into the freezer. It's never going to be rock hard. It's only going to be a semifreddo, partially frozen. We want 5 egg yolks in a bowl and 1/2 cup of sugar. So there they are. And now we want to beat this up until this is smooth. Now make sure that the egg yolks are golden yellow and really well whipped. You don't want to feel any gritty sugar in the bottom of the bowl. Make sure that you really give that a good whip, whipping in a lot of air. And that looks good. So now we can stop that and set that aside because we're going to be using that later on. And now we have to whip some cream. So let me go and get my cream because I'm keeping that very, very cold. And you want about 2.5 cups of heavy cream and about 1/4 cup of sugar. So here's the heavy cream. And needless to say, watching this, you know that this is going to be a very, very rich dessert. In goes the sugar. I'm not even going to change the beaters for this because it's all going to get mixed together. And now we want to beat the cream until it's stiff. Now I have to tell you, this semifreddo is something that you can do ahead of time. Actually, it's better if you do it ahead of time. All right, this is almost where I want it now. I want soft peaks to appear in my heavy cream. Make sure you're always looking on the heavy cream carton to be sure that you're using fresh cream. There. Beautiful. Okay, now we need to get that croccante cut up. So here is mine, all cooled down. And while we're cutting up the croccante, we've got to whip some egg whites. So in here I have 5 egg whites that I want to whip until soft peaks appear. So get a really hefty knife because you hear that cracking? This is very, very hard. And that's where the name comes from, croccante, meaning crackling. And this is kind of akin to peanut brittle, but this is much better than peanut brittle. So you want to chop this all up into coarse pieces. And this is just half of what I made from that recipe because I have some already ready for you. And with this recipe, you're not going to use all of this croccante. You're going to have some left over, which you can use on top of ice cream or sprinkled over fruit, or you can use it in other desserts. So get it into a really good coarse chop. So here's my pan, and all you do is take some of the croccante and put it right in the base. Make a nice even layer, because this is what's going to appear on the top when you unmold this. So a nice base. And And when you do egg whites, you want to make sure that you do not overbeat them. Let me move this out of the way. I have so many gadgets up here today. You don't want to overbeat them or it's going to be hard to fold them in. So now what we need to do is fold the whites. You see how soft and fluffy they are. Fold them right into the egg yolk mixture, going from the bottom of the bowl over the top. And you're going to get 2 molds out of this, or if you want to make this in a humongous large mold, if you happen to have one, that's great too. So now I'm going to fold this into this, a little at a time, and this makes this extremely rich. You could also add some flavoring to this if you wanted to add something like rose water, which the Sicilians are very fond of using. A few little drops of rose water could go in this. If you wanted to put in almond extract, you could use almond extract or a little bit of vanilla. You could also put in a very fine dice of fruit. So now I'm going to put some of this mixture right in the base of the pan, just like that, spreading it, you see? Make sure you get into the corners. And now adding more of the croccante. Put another layer of croccante down and another layer of this absolutely fluffy mixture. Let me get a little bit more there. Remember, you can fill 2 pans with this. And I want to make at least 4 layers here. And now more croccante goes on. What we can do is fold over the plastic wrap, just like this. You see, you want to make sure that you had enough plastic wrap so that you can gently press that and even it out in the pan. That is ready for the freezer. So in it goes. And you want to allow that to chill, as I say, overnight or, you know, at least several hours. Fruit sauce. So you want to start out with just some fresh fruit. Here's mine. And I like to do this either in a food processor or you can do it in a blender. And all you do is put the fruit in a blender or in a food processor. And here we have a combination of fruits. That's going to give a really nice color. A little sugar, not too much. A squeeze of lemon juice goes in. Put the top on. And just whirl until it's smooth. That's all there is to that. Then take it out. I put it in a strainer. Look at how beautiful that color is. Get it in a strainer because you want to take out those excess seeds. So I just do that with a spatula. Just get this so you have a very clear sauce. When you're ready to unmold the semifreddo, you know what's a good idea is to put the plate that you're going to serve it on in the freezer too, so that everything is cold. Now, we're ready to unmold. So remember all of that plastic wrap I told you to have. This is going to help you anchor this down. Then take it, position it on your plate, and just lift off. Beautiful. And then just gently, gently pull that paper away. Just like that. Isn't that beautiful? Wipe up those little spills. And I took my fruit syrup and just put it in one of these little squeeze bottles, you know, that ketchup comes in. And then you could just do something around the croccante, just like that. Look how pretty that is. You want to go on top? You could do that too. You could add a strawberry or some other type of fruit right there. And you know, when I cut it, I have a glass of ice water ready. with my knife in there, a serrated knife. And then, because the knife is cold, that's going to make it a whole lot easier to cut. And I'm just going to cut down so you can see what that looks like. So gently, because remember, this is not frozen. It is simply a semifreddo. Look at how beautiful that looks. And you could put extra sauce on an individual plate if you wanted to. So that's semifreddo.